Happy Juneteenth, mostly to Black people, but also to the rest of y'all that are here. Happy Juneteenth. Hope you're doing lovely. Thank you so much to those of you that helped put this event together, those of you who are here as guests, everybody in the chat showing love, paying Black folks what they are owed. Thanks for all that. Keep it rocking. Let's keep doing it. Respect the moderators, and that'll make for some good mental health. Now, before we dive in, I do want to take a moment to talk to everybody about Talkspace. I'm just kidding. But we are going to be having conversations about mental health today and our own experiences. We do have some professionals on the panel as well. But I do want to give the disclaimer that this is not a substitute for your own special tailored mental health resources and services. We're going to be talking about access and all that stuff. But this is a conversation about mental health. So we're going to be doing that. For those of you that do not know me, I go by 6CBB. The 6 stands for my music persona, Rudy Six. The BB stands for my drag persona, which is I'm a Betty Black, because everywhere I go, people say, I'm Betty Black. And they're right. I'm a variety drag streamer. I'm a member of Team Stream Queens, and I am so excited to be moderating a panel again. Today, we have some incredible, incredible people with us. And I can't wait for them to introduce themselves. So I'm going to shut up and let's meet our incredible panelists. We're going to start with TJ, the X-Droid.
Hey everyone, my name is TJ the X-Droid, and I am a queer Black content creator here on Twitch who focuses mainly on horror and Dead by Daylight. My pronouns are he, him, his, but with respect, you can also call me sis, ma'am, sister, any other gay colloquialisms with respect.
Girl.
All right, girl, as well.
And then let's pass it over to Lainey Love. Hello.
Hello, hi guys. I'm Lainey, aka Lainey Love. I am a licensed clinical therapist, and I provide therapy for my day job Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. And I also stream on Twitch. I mainly play Dead by Daylight, and I am part of Noir and Sisters of the Fog.
Love it. We stand Sisters of the Fog. We love it. Lainey, thank you for being here. We all heard that term, licensed. License. There's a lot of people talking about mental health on the internet, and they might be moving as if they have a license. They don't. Lainey does though. So let's keep it pushing. Who else we're meeting? We also have the fabulous Coder Girl Chan. Hi.
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Coder Girl Chen, aka Chanel. Full time, I'm a web developer, front end web developer, and then at night, I'm a variety streamer. I play stuff like Dead by Daylight, Stardew Valley, you name it, anything. I'm a she, her pronouns, and I'm really excited to be here.
So happy to have you, Coder Girl. Love your streams, love your energy. And
Thank
we
you.
also, of course, we also have Nicole Lockhart. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, yeah, I'm Nicole. I use she, her pronouns. I am a friend of the Stream Queens, but I come from the Airtime Show Beauty Shop. But my day job, I'm actually in real estate, but I work also as a volunteer crisis counselor, specifically catering to people of color and people in the LGBTQI plus community.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nicole. Lovely to have you. And last but not least, we have the fabulous, the stunning, the I really want this hat, please, now, because it matches these shoes. We have the incredible Hoochie Papa.
Hello, everybody. I am Hoochie Papa, and I am a queer drag performer in Seattle, Washington. I will respond to any pronouns. I am comfortable with it all, and daytime I work with the at-risk and homeless youth population.
Love it. Oh my gosh, y'all are doing some incredible things. I'm so happy to be. It is truly, honestly, is an honor and it's a privilege to be having a conversation, not just about mental health, but about mental health with people of color, with queer people of color during a time like no other. I don't know if I mentioned my pronouns. I also will respond to any pronouns as long as they are delivered with respect. I do smell a stunt. I'm sure many of us do. But we're here to have a good time. So we're going to talk about I want to talk about behavior. I used to be or right prior to the pandemic, I was working as a behavior therapist with children on the autism spectrum, and it was the way that like I think humans in general would benefit from behavior therapy because we all have things and we all have habits that we do in our day-to-day lives that sort of might that might have a negative impact on our mental health or on our well-being. So what are some, let's just get right into the nitty-gritty. What are some habits that we would like to that we would like to break in order to benefit our mental health? One of mine is that it's eating. I'm a stress eater and I'm a sweets fiend. So I am like currently on the hunt for. My stream knows I'm being so annoying about it. I'm currently on the hunt for gluten-free, sugar-free, keto-friendly desserts because I want to feel like I'm eating a cookie without eating all of them. So, what are some habits that we want to break?
I'd say one of mine that I've been trying to work on for like honestly the past year is excessive apologizing. I
Yeah,
notice in myself, I've had friends and my partner as well remind me like, why did you apologize for that again? So really kind of being intentional with my apologies and kind of taking back the ones that's like, actually, no, I'm not sorry. And I needed you to do it just like this.
yeah, that's a huge one. Especially, where when we can't we sort of the elephant is in the room is, we there's so much anxiety that I think that a lot of Black folks hold on to, whether we want to admit it or not, because of the way that we are always scolded or talked down to about how we advocate for ourselves or about how we speak up on shit. And there's that feeling of needing to like sort of shrink down or apologize for being too much when we really don't have to move that way. I love that answer.
I wanted to tie in a little bit to what Hoochie was saying as far as apologizing. For me, what I notice is when people apologize to me, I have this habit of saying, "Oh, it's good," or, "No problem," or "It's okay." And I'm trying to unlearn that
Mhm.
for when I'm accepting an apology and just say something along the lines of, "I accept your apology," or, just something different. Because I feel like by saying that, I'm kind of opening the door for them to do that same thing that hurt me in the first
Yeah.
place again. And I'm trying to, work past that and start setting up boundaries a little bit more. I think another thing that I want to do is just reclaim more of my time and spend less time retaliating when people are being harmful on the internet and just wanting to, get the Twitter finger, start Twitter fingering.
Yeah.
And, I'm trying to pull back a little bit more on that just because when I was younger, I kind of was the person who let people walk all over me. And so as I got more comfortable in my truth, I was very protective of my spirit and the energy around me. So I want to get back to, just learning at points when it's worth to engage in different arguments or when people are intentionally antagonizing us versus learning when to just say, okay, and just leave it at that and just let them go off and do whatever they're doing.
I think my biggest problem right now is ignoring people. Like I literally will go into a weird space where I'm like, I don't want to talk. I'm not talking to anyone, even though it's like talking to someone would probably help in that instance. But I just like shut down and I'm like, I don't want to talk to anyone. Like so someone will message me and I won't message them back for like 3 days just because I'm like, I don't want to have to deal with having to pull myself together and chat with someone. Like I think I wrote like a tweet where I'm like, I'm in this weird phase where um I want to see all my friends, but I also don't want to talk to them at all. Like I don't want to talk to you at all. And it's not because I don't like you. It's just I cannot put myself together enough to have a general conversation with someone. It's so weird. So maybe I guess the habit is ignoring people or not asking for people to talk to me. It's very strange.
I'm right there with you,
Yeah.
Chanel. Like I call it I'm a Cancer. I call it my
Yeah.
hermit moment, and where I just like shrink entirely away, and like the shell is the only safe place. And I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it might be like a self-confidence thing. Like I'm not liking where I'm at in my life, so I don't want to like be in a space where I have to sort of act like I am or be too honest. So who knows? It
Totally.
goes deep though. But I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we just heard is it really has its roots in people pleasing. And, when we apologize when necessarily we don't have to, or when we accept an apology and we say, oh, no problem, like, or when we're, maybe disengaging with a text conversation with somebody that we do care about, but maybe we just don't have the emotional, capacity for them right now. And so we don't engage. Like, all of that kind of has its roots in people pleasing, which is something that I know I struggle with. And I think Black people in particular struggle with, because we're so afraid to do something that's going to upset somebody. And that includes not responding to their text. That includes, if we feel like we bumped into them or took up too much space, apologizing when, a simple, oh, excuse me, would have done.
Yeah.
And so that's really something I've been looking at, is like, okay, where am I trying to please other people instead of making decisions just for me? Like, so I straight up told my sister, like literally an hour ago, I said, hey, listen, like, I know you want to take mom to this concert, on like November 7th, but I'm running the marathon, and like, it's important to me that all of y'all will be there. And she's like, okay, we'll try. And I was like, no, don't try. Like, this is going to have some effects on me if you don't show
Yeah.
up. And so making sure I ask for what I need, so I'm not like bitter about it later, because I was just trying to, make everybody happy.
Absolutely. And I think that brings up an important point. And then really quick, Lainey, did we get your habit?
I just procrastinate.
Okay.
I feel that also.
I mean, beyond relatable.
Yeah, I'm very
She
firm with
says that
boundaries.
she goes
So
last.
yes, if anybody needs any pointers about boundaries, I got you.
I mean, you got the boundaries, you got the clear communication. You wrap that up in about 0.5 seconds.
Mhm.
Like, it is what it is. And actually, what Lainey, actually, what all of us, there's pieces of what all of us have sort of touched on that I think is important. But I think, what role does clear communication play in our ability to advocate for our own mental health? And so, like, for me specifically, I think of a breakup that I had a couple years back. And when I tell you, I dog walked this dude via text message, because it just was not important to me that I did things face to face, because enough had transpired where I didn't owe him shit as far as I was concerned. But after I had that interaction with him, it was a feeling like that I had not felt in over a year, the entire time I was with him. But if I felt myself choosing myself and being crystal clear, like, you cannot take this text and chop it up and get it twisted. But so that's sort of where I'm coming from with this question. But sort of, how do y'all interpret the importance of clear communication in being in your ability to work on your mental health, whether that's with you or in your relationships?
I think it's extremely necessary to do that, because even when I work with my clients who struggle with the people pleasing and they don't want to step on too many toes, and I'm like, okay, well, what did that get you? So when you moved over and you rolled over and you exposed your belly and you did all that, what did that get you in the end? Just comfortability with somebody that's trying you? So I always try to bring it around to, it's okay to consider other people, but you have to put yourself first. Because I think when people hear selfish, they are like, oh, that's a bad thing. Not necessarily. Because let me tell you right now, it comes to, the apocalypse happens tomorrow, and it's between me and Lois across the street. Lois is getting got. So
This is Lois.
you have to in some moments put yourself first to protect yourself. Because would somebody have that same consideration for you? Clearly they didn't, if you're the one rolling over. But when you set a clear boundary and you set clear communication with people and you set an expectation of people, because friendship is not all sunshine and rainbows, love is not all sunshine and rainbows. If you have to demand that respect for yourself for you to be treated the way that's best for you in that moment.
Just to tie on to that one, not even a relationship thing, but just even a professional thing in the working world. I find this a lot being in tech, and especially a woman in tech thing. I find a lot of times, um, you know, they won't advocate for themselves. We won't put our I had a quote, it was basically like, for a promotion, something like that. Like, a man will put their hand up when they're not 100% ready, they'll just put their hand up, whereas a woman will make sure that they're like 100% ready before they put their hand up, which is like, I feel that so much. I never in my professional life, I barely advocate for myself, and I find that with a lot of people, like, they won't stand up for themselves, they won't say anything because they're like worried, like, I'm not ready, whatever. So professionally, not even in tech, but just in general, like, you know, people with mental health issues who have anxiety have a very hard time advocating for themselves, proving their worth for the most part, even when, you know, they're worthy.
Yeah, I love what you said, Lainey, about setting a boundary. And for me, that really hit home when Naomi Osaka refused to play in her match. And I was so proud of her because there have been in over history, I'm sure, so many athletes who decided to play when what they really needed was a mental health day, and they had a mental error during the game that cost them their whole career, like an injury, so like just something that put them in they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, when really if they had the ability to advocate for themselves, set that boundary, say nope, I'm sorry, I know it's an important game, but I really got to stay home today, I'm just not here. That would have just changed the course of everything. And so when I saw her do that and just refuse to play, I was like, wow, there are so many days where I have shown up in places and spaces that I've shown up that what I really needed was a nap. and and yeah, so I think there's like a lot of lessons to be learned from that, for sure. So kudos to her for speaking up for her mental health at that moment.
That's also the sign of clear communication with yourself, because you have to, like, especially when you're on that big of a platform, that big of a stage, there's endless external voices and external influences telling you to do the opposite of what is best for you. It's for Naomi in this instance. So I think that's very huge, that internal communication.
I think what because I want to go back to what Coder Girl was saying regarding, you know, that complete detachment and disassociation from people that you're close friends with or people who you care about in your life. I'm mostly extroverted, but I do have times where I've noticed that I have mood swings, and I've never been clinically diagnosed with bipolar disorder or anything of that nature. But there's definitely times where I'm like, I'm having a really great time. I'm having the best week of my life. And then the next day it just sudden switch and I have no idea what happened. But sometimes friends will want me to come out and join them. And I just know that with my current energy at that time, I'm probably going to be an energy vampire. I don't want people asking me, well, are you okay? You look like you're down. And, you know, I don't want to feel guilty for occupying the space when I'm not in that mindset. So, what I like to tell people, you know, is I just let them know, listen, I'm not really in the mood to be around people right now. I think I just need some time to recharge my batteries, you know, definitely reach out to me later down the road. And I'm usually the person actually who ends up reaching out to people who are introverted. And I've been the one who at least just reach out to them and just let them know, hey, if you're feeling it, if you're feeling in that moment, you want to come out, you know, this is happening. Don't feel any pressure, but feel free to join
Yeah.
if you feel like you want to be around friends. And I think that really helps a lot too. So for me, I definitely do feel some of that um guilt when I kind of just disassociate from everyone, but then I also do think at times that, you know, if I kind of like forced myself to go and just be around people, I probably would do more harm than good for me. Because I've just seen where it's gone south really quick. Um, but that's definitely something that I've learned to just at least communicate for me when I'm in the mood to do certain things, and if I'm not, just be comfortable with saying no. Because I'm so used to not saying no most of my life. Because well, if you say no, then they can perceive you a certain way, or you know, they automatically want to go with me being the angry black dude stereotype, and it's not a moment.
I think even that is like you know, mental health is a journey for everyone, but it's additional. It's a more layered journey for people of color and for Black folks and for queer Black folks, and you know, that pressure piece is huge. Like we talked about a little bit with Naomi Osaka. There's also the social pressure of even just trying to like say the right words to your friends to say like I don't want to be around people, and hoping that they don't like internalize that themselves. You know, so it's sort of this tangled web that we're sort of walking. But before we continue into this serious territory, let's talk about something fun, mental health related, really quick. When we're having like rough or low days, what's something that we do to like, what's something that we can do, maybe not always, but something that has worked for you to snap yourself out of it a little bit, whether it's a song, binging a show, whether it's escapism or something that's more rooted in mental health work. How do you pull yourself out of a rut when it's in your control?
I would definitely say a glass of wine. It really helps. It helps
Red,
many a
white,
times, many a days. I'll give it to me, whatever color. I am not
yes.
exclusive. Let's go. And also trash television, especially some like Real Housewives white lady stuff. Let me
Hmm.
look at that type of drama that is nothing near my own. That's really where I'm just like, I will lean into that escapism. I'll look at y'all talking about your $500,000 whatever this and that. Let's get into it.
We love some trash TV. Yes.
Mhm.
I agree. I get the wine, reality TV. If I'm on my way home from work, it's probably some K-pop or something. Go home, log on to Sims, start building a house I can't afford.
Lady. Yes. I stand.
My Sims have too much drama. Like I can't be in their world all the time.
Is it drama that you caused though? Are we removing doors?
Obviously,
Of
obviously.
course.
It's the only way to go.
Chaos. How else do we escape? How else do we cope with the madness of the world?
One of the things I've recently been diving into has been queer black TikTok. I don't know if y'all have been on there, but listen, like the things, the gems, and just like the amazingness that I've seen pop up on my For You page has just gotten me through some really tough nights. I don't think I have ever hollered as much as I have, just going through just some of the different things I've seen. During the whole bonnet gain situation, someone made a parody and called it the Beckiana, and I about died. So it
Not
sent
the
me.
Becky on it.
If you haven't seen it, I need y'all to go on TikTok and just find the Becky on it because it was
The
too much. But
the internet is the best place to see Black people coping with the worst roommates of all time, white people.
let me tell you, black social media do not let you down, period. When it comes to comedy, they will give you the gems, they will give you what needs to be given.
I adore that.
Um, but definitely lots of nights on my Switch, grinding the Animal Crossing. We're not going to talk how many hours I have in that, as well as Stardew Valley, but
Boom, boom.
definitely nice nights like that, or listening to lo-fi, or listening to podcasts. So
Yeah. I'll echo
Yeah.
some of the Black queerness. I
Yeah.
love listening to the Read podcast. I love listening to Bob and Monet's podcast, Sibling Rivalry. I'll also play a whole lot of Toxic Overwatch off stream under a name that is not 60BB because I don't need them finding my Twitch with the way that I'm a foreign main and the way that I be booping bitches or being bad at the game. It's for me, okay? This is my personal time.
you don't want to be perceived. You don't need to be.
No, I am not even an entity. Like I'm not here.
Exactly. Yeah, for me, yes, trash TV. It's all about Real Housewives. I'd like to thank Below Deck, for for the multiple seasons of getting me through pretending I can afford a yacht and go on vacation, which I can't right now. So thank you for that.
Keeping it on the
TikTok.
dream board.
Yeah, seriously, TikTok all day, like an unhealthy amount. And sometimes I'll just work. Like I'll code something, I'll try to, do something with that, anything. But for the most part, just yeah, lots of trash TV. Thank you also Netflix for all the dating shows that you released during the pandemic. It was insane. Thank you. Thank you all Too Hot to Handle and whatever the other one was that I can't think of. Love is Blind. Those definitely got me through some times, definitely.
This
You
Pop
have
Lock
to
and Drop
watch
It has provided quite a bit of really interesting content, I'm just gotta say.
yeah. I was gonna say you have to watch Love Island if you're big into like the dating reality trash shows. It's wonderful, especially if you watch the UK version because they all have accents. And that is my trash to no end because it's literally six like no, an hour long and then like 52 episodes. So you lose
Oh
like
my
3 days
god.
of your life, but you don't need them back. Like
I didn't
You
need them
don't.
anyways, fine.
That part. There are gonna be some rough days anyway. So I love all of this, by the way. So thank you for the recommendations. I've got some TikToks to scroll, some shows to watch. Um, Now, so we talked a little bit about sort of we've talked about habits, we talked about sort of our moods and our temperaments changing. Something that frustrates the hell out of me is, you know, anyone's mood can change drastically over the course of a day. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about how our mental health and our mental state sort of shifts throughout a day in the life or just a regular day, because that's something that always and I don't because I don't even realize it until I get to the end of the day, and I'll just look back and be like, I started this day fine, and somewhere a spiral started. So let's talk a little bit about that. If that's something that y'all have paid attention to in your day-to-day lives before.
Well, for me, it's definitely work related that throws me
Mhm.
off. Yeah, I'll go in totally fine. I'm jamming on the way to work and the way from work to just decompress from whatever is going to be happening. And it could be just be something as simple, maybe not my clients, but like the families of my clients that get in
Mm,
my client's way from being their best person. That really irritates my soul. And that can be difficult, especially when you know that all they need is that one thing for them to really just let go and just flourish and be a butterfly and fly away. So for me, that kind of like will drain me emotionally and drain my patience. So that's definitely one of those things.
and is that something that you'll just like, I mean, I'm sure it's different day to day, but is it something that you just sort of sit with? Is it something that you try to combat?
I let it go. Um,
Mhm.
again, this is just because I'm a therapist when it comes to territory, but I try not to take any of that home with me,
Yeah.
just because that's really grating. So when 4 o'clock hits and I leave that there too, because I can't take that home with me, because then that ruins my week, that ruins the rest of my day, whatever I have planned. Because doing content creation and another job, that's 2 jobs, right?
Yes.
And so it's like I can't carry that into my second one, so I tend to leave a lot of it there immediately. But I've kind of trained myself to do that. And I know I have a
Yeah.
luxury of that because that's a skill that I've learned.
That's a tricky one.
I love what you mentioned about it being a luxury to be able to separate those two things, because I don't think a lot of people realize how taxing and exhausting it is to work 40 hours a week, and then come back home and do everything else that needs to be done. Maybe squeeze a workout in there and then come and stream. That's a lot of hours in the
Yeah.
day just doing everything outside of streaming. And then so to come into stream, it does take a lot of our energy. And I think it's just preserving your energy when you feel like, maybe today is probably not the best day to do that, because it's going to show all over your face and all in the energy that you're giving on the stream. So I've been very conscious of that, of not trying to like force myself to stream when I know I'm not going to put on a good performance.
Mhm.
So, well, not really a performance, but just like being myself. I'm not going to be able to be me because at the end of the day, I'm just being myself. But I don't want to overextend myself because I know that it's going to be more harm than good. So I have the tendency to be a workaholic. I will just be go, 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 go. I'm like the Energizer Bunny, and I don't know how to flip that off switch. I think that's just how I've been raised, because, one of the things that my family told me growing up is I had to do things so much better than white people in order to get half of what they were getting for half the work. So I, you know, definitely know when to just be like, okay, this is the boundary here at work.
Yeah.
I'm going home. I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to shut it down, and not stress over those things, because I do have the tendency sometimes to be like, oh, well, there's this one thing I really wanted to get done. And then it starts nagging and I brood, and it's just downhill from there. So I've definitely learned how to just completely separate that. And there's things I'm still working on, but I definitely want to protect my space and my energy.
Yeah. And so many of us Black folks, I think, have that urgency coded into us. Shout out to Coder Girl Chan. And and I think that, we sort of start off feeling like we're already behind. And I mean, it's not wrong, but like it's being taught to, work twice as hard. That's a piece of the puzzle, but the larger puzzle is obviously systemic racism. But I don't think we can handle that in a therapy session.
Yeah, it takes a while to kind of get back in touch with that part of us, because
Yeah.
when black people were an enslaved people, that's all we did was work. And so there is still this part of us that's really hardworking. And definitely I notice that in myself, like when I have it to give, like I'm so deep in it and I'm giving as much as I can. But I've learned how to kind of, like Lainey said, find that balance. And so for me, my home is really like the Grace place. Like there's only one area in my home where I work. There's like, I don't work in my bed. I don't work on the couch. Like I work only in one specific area, and every other place is designed for rest and for that, giving myself that grace to just heal and then go back out into this crazy city that I live in. I'm in New York. And then going out to work with white people all the time, because it's a different face you have to have for them. Like, it's just, you have to learn how to, when you do switch it off, to really give yourself what you need and give it to you immediately.
Yeah, just to add on to that one, for the working hard portion. Um, so I'm biracial. Both sides of my family are immigrants. So I have like the Italian side immigrant, like Jamaican immigrant. So it's like all about working hard, working from the bottom, like just constantly, you need to work hard to get this, you need to work hard to get that. Like with my family, my mom was a single mom, so she didn't have a lot of money. So I always had this in my mind, like I have to work hard. I have to keep working hard. I have to keep working hard. I have this disadvantage. I'm a woman. I'm a Black woman. Like I need to get ahead. So I just feel like I constantly have to work all the time. I never put that rest. Like in my head, you need to relax. I just have to keep working. So it's always weird. What always triggers me at work is when someone says, "Are you okay?" Like, oh my God, you just snapped me out of it. I'm about to, please don't ask me if I'm okay. And they're like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I was like, don't ask me if I'm okay. just don't. That's it seems like it's a trigger word for me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's so
triggered me
weird.
before as well.
It's so, no, I'm not okay.
Because
I'm
because
not
that's the
okay.
thing. Because
Mhm.
it's never the answer's never yes, and
Yeah.
that's really what I think throws it off. Because
Mhm.
it's so much layered. It's like what we were talking about before we came here when somebody came in to my stream yesterday and just said, "So how do you feel about Juneteenth?" It's like there are layers to why we're not okay, or like why we have complicated feelings about Juneteenth, and there's oh, you struck a chord in me with that one, Chanel.
I almost cried saying it. I was like, oh no, I'm not okay, not this.
Yeah,
We
no,
knew
my
what we
boss
were getting
literally said
Hate
that to
into.
me. My boss
hate
literally
it.
said that to me on Monday, and I had an anxiety attack on Saturday. So when I came
Oh,
in on Monday, she was like, "Are you okay?" Because it was all over my face, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And she was like, "But my boss is like a chill white lady," so she was like, "I mean, if you need like a couple of days," and I was like, "No, I'm good. I'll let you know." But
Mhm. Mhm.
no.
stay tuned. Please stay
Yeah.
tuned. And then for the audience, give us one moment. TJ's internet dropped out for a second, so we're just going to get it all situated. Sit tight. We're still here. Listen to the sound of her voice. And then who'd you pop up?
Also, I also wanted to say I found myself while we're in this post-pandemic getting out there era, literally asking myself at the end of the day, how did I have enough energy to do it all before this all happened? And I realized the answer is I didn't. That
Mhm.
literally is it. I never had enough energy to do it all because I simply cannot. And I think that like that is something that I'm reminding myself that like there are so many things that can be done and need to be done. I cannot do it all. And being more honest with that, both with myself and also with whether that's coworkers, whether that's family, whether that's a romantic relationship, friends, whoever, being more transparent, being like, listen, I'm not doing well right now. This is it. I'm carrying too much. The load is too heavy. It's just where I'm at. Can you help me to do it all?
Yeah,
Do it all together because I can't do it all on my own.
very that. Whew, welcome back, TJ. We're deep
You.
stuff.
And it
um,
decided to have its own little moment.
these things happen, and I hope that you didn't stress while the internet went out. We're all good.
Just a nice little breath. Just woosah, we're
That's
good.
it. And then actually on that note, I actually wanted to ask about some if y'all have like practices that you have to so more less on the side of escapism, more on the side of like things that are directly related to like improving your mental state, whether it's working out, yoga, something creative. What do y'all do to sort of I guess do the work on yourself?
I think for me, what I like to do the most is um, trying to get back into working out. Since there's been that whole protractor outside, we weren't able to go outdoors or go
I
into
haven't
any,
heard protractor before.
workout
I like
spaces. So I've been trying to just get a little bit more of just time to get back into the groove of it, which it's been rough because I've been out the gym for like 3, 4 months. Um, but that was really a big help for my mental health, and it helped me just to not feel so sluggish and tired at the end of the day. Helped me stop sleeping like 14 hours because there were definitely some days like that. Um, but that was one of the things I like to do.
it's great.
I need to get out of my house. Um, at least once a week.
Yeah.
I will yell at people if it's a nice day. Like, not like, where it is right now. We're all over at least in North America, it's pretty humid, pretty hot right now. But on days where it's like nicer, maybe in the morning or something, I'll try to like go for a walk or something. Just get outside, please. Because when you have those four walls, especially during this whole, B2K's pandemonium, we've done nothing but basically been inside the house, whether it was out of fear, whether it was you had to work from home, whether it was you were out of a job. You kind of knew nothing but those four walls. You
Yeah.
need to get outside. You have to. So I try to at least do that at least once a week.
I'm here like internalizing that because I'm that person. We are talking about like, leaving it at work or, it all happens right here for me. Like the pandemic hitting, like really turned things upside down for me. So the work, the rest, the drag, it all happens in this room. And I felt the effects recently. And I was very excited to be moderating this panel because if child, I need to moderate this panel. But
Yeah,
no,
Mercury is in retrograde right now, so you
listen,
you are
now
not alone
streaming,
in feeling
Man,
all of that.
now streaming
Uh,
on iTunes.
yeah,
fire time. We don't have
one of
time.
one of the things that I recently have done, I've worked with therapists, I've had coaches, life coaches, and things like that as well. But I'm fine if you're somebody who's really good at like taking yourself through the self practice and you really want to go deep. There's a cool practice called To Be Magnetic. She's a really sweet white woke lady named Lacey Phillips, and she has this whole program that you can either invest in for like 18 a month, I think, or something like that. But or you can just buy, the workshops a la carte. But it's a lot of like shadow work. So looking at like where you're afraid to be seen, or like the inner child work, looking at those deep wounds, to really help you like bring in that extra wholeness. And then they have just like other stuff to help you like manifest abundance and manifest love, and it's really helping you kind of go deep so that you can actually grow and manifest and see the things that you want to see in your life. So they've got these really cute little like deep imaginings that are maybe 20 minutes long, and they're so helpful for me when I'm just like, you know what, I'm just not feeling myself today. And they have one that's called Authentic Self, and it's all about you like just channeling in and bringing up what you need to be able to get through that interview or get through that date or whatever the case may be, or just get through your day. So I am a big fan of her work.
Love that.
And she's a very big supporter of like the LGBTQ community as well. So that's amazing.
I'm in that inner child. I feel like I do in inner child work creatively. Like I feel it come up creative, but I need to translate that to like the mental health game.
Yeah, for me, definitely fresh air, exercise. I feel like at the beginning of or not the beginning of the pandemic, but like when it started getting nice outside, like when I was able to walk and listen to podcasts and all on the walks and do all those things. When I started running again, like I started running like crazy again, and that was really helpful. Um, all that kind of stuff has been really helpful for me. I started boxing, kind of getting aggression out in that way because you get to punch a bag, which is really nice. So, I could aggressively fight my anxiety and the pandemic at the same time. Yeah, like that seems to be, I feel like that seems to be like the best one. It gets that like serotonin in there and like all that energy out. And I found when winter came back around, I got out of it, and then that just like made it tank again. The thing that kind of got me back outside because I got back into that habit again of just staying inside is I got, not saying get this, but I got a dog. So now I'm forced to go outside
Mhm.
because I have no choice. I have a little thing to take care of, and I'm like,
Yes.
oh, thank God. All the stress of the having a puppy is like whatever because now I get to go outside again, so that's really helpful. So that, not saying get a dog. I mean, get it if you want, but that's been really helpful for me because now I have to go outside all seasons. I have no choice. But yeah, I would definitely say like that fresh air is just like
Yeah.
everything to me because it's not my little office or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can give a dog the home, the love, and the care that it needs, get a dog. Get a
Yeah,
dog.
that
You want mine?
responsibility.
Like T.S. Madison, suck a dick, get a job, get a dog. You know,
Tell that to the Catholic Church.
tell it, tell it.
And I wanted
Bow.
to add something real quick if I can, because I know that y'all were mentioning you work from home. So I am an essential worker. So I've been working out here in these streets and
Yeah.
having to drive to work.
Same.
It's
Thank
it's been a
you.
mess. I'm not here for it. And it's just been a lot of different things. I overall was doing good until like the beginning of the year. I did actually end up getting COVID. Thank God I made it through it. But it's just been a lot of different stresses and just like I would be out and about, but it's just like being outside just felt like so different because you're just seeing that isolation and it's like you're in your vehicle and then you drive to work and you wear your mask and it was definitely taking its toll on me because it's like I'm going out, but I'm not seeing people who are actively in my life and who care about me. And me being a very physical person with people who I care about with hugs and just like kisses on the cheeks and showing love, it was definitely taking a very heavy toll on my mental health. And I had to, at one point, definitely hop on that virtual therapy and just be like, this is like mama is trash. Like, I'm not here for it. So that definitely took a lot of energy to kind of get through. But one thing that really helped was just when I got fully comfortable with expressing myself was just experimenting with makeup and just getting that cute little highlight on at 9 at night, just being at home bored in the house and in the house bored, beating my face and just experimenting, see what happens. So
That's fierce. Yeah, shout out to everybody that found a creative release through makeup and drag in the pandemic because I started just last February myself, so work. Um, yes, I had. So mental health is like, well, I'm like simultaneously trying to run the panel, but I'm also like being like impacted by the things and all the sharing that's happening. Let's talk about I guess let's talk about like access. Let's talk about not only access to mental health resources and things like that, but also some of what we already touched on, things like the ability to separate your creative space from your workspace, and I guess sort of some of the limitations that we experience with our mental health journeys, maybe things that we know are good for our mental health that we cannot quite reach just tangibly, because I think there's a lot of people, especially queer people of color on the internet, especially Black people on the internet. We know that there's a lot of situations. There's our trans siblings who are oftentimes in rough living situations that make it hard to get a good handle on mental health. So let's go here. It's a rocky road. But actually, here I'll throw my hat in really quick. So I already touched on my honestly, some of what all of y'all have already said really are pieces of what I've been dealing with. My need to hermit is sort of magnified because of my current situation, and it took me a long time to just to give myself permission to just explore creatively while I was also looking for stable work. And while I continue to, like, I just got an email yesterday from this job that was stringing me along that said, we totally would have hired you, but our budget is now frozen for the third quarter. And I'm just like, you know what? Great, like, fine. So at least, so it wasn't me this time, work. So there's things like this, this open communication, things like drag. Those are the ways that I sort of hang on to, my mental health, and I keep myself in a good space in order to make the other things happen. So, what are y'all's stories with that? Access to healthcare resources. Um, we'll be here for a bit.
So
First one too. Oh,
you go ahead.
did you want to
No,
say
you're
something?
good. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Zoom
You're
year,
fine.
Zoom year, stream year. First, I want to apologize. Someone decided to mow a lawn today, so it's happening right at this moment. So I want to apologize if anyone can hear that. But I wanted to say, similar to you, 6BB, is drag absolutely. And I encourage anyone to just find whatever art you are into and do it for you first and
Mhm.
foremost. And when you're in that doing it for you moment, that's really when you're honing in that craft, whether it's like a watercolor, drag,
Come on, watercolor.
making sculptures, all of
Yeah.
it is just like find that this is for me thing that no one can take away from you and that no one is critiquing. It's for you and fall in love with that thing. That's really what like I have been trying to focus on with this pandemic as well. Is just like there's so much that has to be done for others and that others are involved with and what is yours. Whether it's a simple thing or like the grandest of thing, and that simplest of thing can turn into the grandest of thing.
Oh, I love that.
I I was gonna say, like, I feel like maybe I don't want to get like too deep. Like, I don't know if I need to put like a warning out there, like content warning, trigger warning. But for me during the pandemic, one thing that I noticed regarding access and just different things of that nature was just like that time that they mentioned that they were needing, more donations with blood. And so it was just like, but y'all don't want my blood. So what is the
Yeah.
truth? And, it was just that sudden shift of just like, coming to terms with being discriminated in that manner through access. And, I understand the importance of needing to come to our communities and discuss very important subjects that affect us. But one of the things that used to always bother me is I would see people constantly talking about sexual health and STIs, and they would gloss by all of the non-black people in the gay club and immediately like beeline over to me. And it's like, oh, have you gotten tested? Have you gotten this? Have you gotten that? And it's always that discussion of, you know, well, this group is at higher risk or this group is at higher risk, but they never discuss the reason why.
Mm.
And so that always like bothered me a lot. And so when I was thinking about the donations of blood, it was just like reminding me of all the times where it's like we definitely could have gotten a little bit more care and just like attention from people who could have given us that access and that love and that support. And we were kind of just pushed off to the side. And then, we have this disease coming around and affecting everyone. And suddenly now they want us to kind of just hop in there. It was like, y'all were just denying us all these things before. So it definitely took a lot of just working through that and coming to terms with the fact of just being black and queer in America, specifically with the way the healthcare system is. It's very daunting sometimes.
So often they'll point to the side effects of the systemic racism of it all, and but they won't point to the cause. They won't get to the root of it. They'll point to a side effect and try to draw these conclusions to make it to point to something else as the issue. But and then like you said, they want us to jump on board when they need us. But yeah, so let's I guess yeah, let's continue with access, and maybe Nicole and Lainey might have more insight as professionals in the field. But I mean, it's such a, I mean, it's such a huge piece of the puzzle, and it's such an
Yeah.
important piece of the puzzle. Let's talk
Yeah.
about access to healthcare or
Yeah,
mental health.
access, I've definitely seen where um, some of my more melanated clients don't have as many opportunities for certain types of therapy, depending on the community that they live in, which is extremely frustrating. It's kind of like the lower the socioeconomic status, the less they have to mental health care. And so, and I've also found that even in my own agency, I'm the only Black therapist on my team, and I'm one of maybe 10 in my entire agency, which has we have hella therapists. And I noticed that my colleagues' clients were trying to request me because, especially during the George Floyd and things like that, there were just some things that they didn't feel like explaining. And to this day, I actually have the most clients on a caseload out of the whole team because of that. So when it comes to, certain access and things like that, I noticed that I've been told that, you know, some clients, they want to go seek out a therapist, they want a therapist, but they don't want a white therapist. And so I have to encourage them that given their insurance, given their options of where they live, they don't really have a choice but to do so. But if they have the opportunity to go see maybe 3 of them and pick one out of the 3 they want to go with, do so. Like, it sounds backwards, but it's a lot like dating. So it's like, you go on that first day. It's just like, yes, tell me about yourself. It's just like, well, this is who I voted for. Okay, thank you. I'll take the breadsticks. Okay, you guys have a good one. Like, you just kind of know, like, this is not going to work out. Same thing happens with therapy. Therapists are not perfect. You're going to have therapists that are sexist, that are homophobic, that are racist. You're going to have a lot of those. So if you have any inkling, any kind of red flag comes up, don't go back. Don't waste your time, because sometimes you only get maybe 1 or 2 free ones before you have to start paying out of pocket or half for your things. Do not waste your time. If you are not vibing off that first one, leave.
Yeah, I love that. And one of the reasons why, well, once I started, volunteering in the mental health space, I chose Crisis Text Line is because it's all text based. And so there's really no way for you to have a bias against me or for me to have a bias against you. Like, we're not trained to do that. So there really shouldn't be any of that going on. And so it's really great. So we have a lot of, I mean, especially with young people, I think now, like this next generation, I have such hope for them. Like, they're so inspiring, and they have access, I think, to a lot of things that I wish I could have had. Like, I wish I could have talked to somebody about pornography when I was 14. Like, there was nobody there for me to do that, and let alone having the kind of the mask or like the anonymity of a text, just texting, and not even have to like bring it up to my parents or something like that. Like, I think those sorts of tools and those sorts of resources technology has made so entirely possible. So I highly recommend them if you're ever in just like a crisis moment or you're having a tough day and you just need to like chat it out with somebody who knows nothing about you and is really just there to support you through it. Crisis Text Line is a great place to go and to recommend people across all kinds of spectrum of mental health, whether you're curious about bipolar disorder or you're struggling with your orientation. Like, all of those things are available to you there, free of cost. So
Yeah, I wanted to kind of touch on that too. Like, there's kind of a recent narrative, and Nicole, I don't know if you've seen it, but like on social media where people kind of downplay hotlines or downplay really utilizing therapy for what it is. Like, I've seen a lot of jokes of like, oh, I opened up about my actual trauma and then I get sent to a hospital. It's like, but I took an oath. Okay, I took an oath from my license that as long as you're not a danger to yourself or to someone else, what we talk about is whatever. But the
yeah,
moment it gets
exactly.
into that territory, we are concerned about what you will do. And so I've had, clients mention those kind of topics, and I always clarify: do you have an intent or a plan?
Exactly.
If you answer yes to either one of those, I have to make a phone call. If you say
Yeah.
no, kick up my feet. What's up?
Yeah.
What's
We
going
call it
on?
laddering up, right? Like, we always
Right.
want to make sure that if you are self-harming, we can help you get to the emotional root. But if you're self-harming to a point where you actually might need medical care, of course we're going to call 911. We are not
Yeah.
going to let anybody,
Mhm.
go out on our watch like that. So I
Mhm.
100% Lainey.
Yeah, so I've seen like kind of this narrative of that people shouldn't call hotlines and they shouldn't do those things because they're afraid of those type of things, which we totally get. Do not misunderstand. But when it comes to what we have to do in terms of mental health, those are kind of the guidelines. So the last thing you want to hear is, do not go to therapy. It's a waste of time. Do not call this hotline. It's a waste of time. I'm sorry it didn't work for you. I'm very sorry it did not work for you. I hope there is something else that works for you. But please do not downplay those resources to individuals who really need them.
Absolutely. And that,
I
and
honestly, I'm sorry.
no, you're good. Go ahead, TJ.
Yeah, just to like kind of piggyback of what Lainey and Nicole were saying, just regarding hotlines and things like that. I kind of do think it's a great thing that those are resources still available, especially to this coming generation. For me, that was kind of really what my lifeline was at a point in my life. Um, because I grew up Southern Baptist, and I, from a very young age, knew I was gay. I knew I was gay at 12. And I was constantly getting all of these negative, toxic messages, um, that I wasn't out, but I would just exist and people wouldn't know, but there would always be a random conversation about how it was Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, and then all these other things that would just come up out of nowhere, and just so much negativity and just a not healthy environment that at one point I did need to get in touch with someone because I had suicidal ideations and I need to speak to someone right away. um, and thankfully there are people who were there for me. I remember I went to, even just going in person, just saying what's going on and just having them follow up. My um, school counselor, I had actually told her, I was like, hey, so there's been some things I've been feeling that this is what's going on. And I will never forget, like, they had mentioned it to my father. And I think sometimes especially in the Black community, like many of y'all may already know this, that we get this thing where, well, Black people don't go to therapy, they go to Jesus, or they go to the church, or they go to religion. And it's just like, well, when religion wasn't really there to help you navigate through that, then you don't really have anywhere else to go. I'll never forget that he had told me at the time, I think he's definitely grown quite a bit since then, but oh, how dare you go to this other person? And particularly, it happened to be a white counselor because that's what I had access to at the time. Well, how dare you go to this white woman and tell her, our business? And it's so much of that stigmatization that Black people have to bear the burden, like just bear the burden of all the things that they're going through and have to deal with that on their own, because the moment that you reach out, then somehow it makes us less than.
And I mean, like it's the Black people and the mental health conversation is one that, like, I don't think it's diminished as much. I don't think that stigma in the Black community surrounding mental health has diminished as much as we say that it has, or as much as some people say that it has. So let's dig into that chunk of this pie, because it's Juneteenth. We're celebrating Black liberation, but you know we a lot of us don't have mental liberation. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk a little bit about how maybe we've been impacted, or what we've seen from how Black people perceive um, mental health therapy, whether it's whether it's our parents' generation or previous generations, or now. Because Lainey was telling us about TikTok trying to drag therapy through the dirt, so it's not over.
Something that I've seen, at least, so I'm originally from the Midwest, from Kansas City, Missouri, and have a lot of family there who are, your traditional conservative Black Christian people. And growing up, I often would hear to any like sad comment, any worry or thing like that was, well, baby, just pray about it. Just pray about it. And no, prayer is powerful, absolutely powerful in whatever capacity it is done. But sometimes there's an additional little something that's needed with that prayer too. And like I think it took me a while to kind of give myself my own permission for that, even though like I identify as spiritual, not necessarily religious. It really took until early 20s for me to just be like, okay, it's time to bring in that additional support. And like prayer can do some things, I can do some things, but like a professional is also needed here if I'm wanting to continue this beautiful life that I say that I have. And it truly is giving oneself that permission to seek other resources and to seek them on your own as well, out the permission of those that you're used to getting that permission from.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love that.
For me, it wasn't so my family were not very religious, nothing like that. Like one side is, but me and my brother were raised religious. So if we had any sort of feelings or felt any sort of way, it was more like, oh, just brush it off. Like, just brush it off, like whatever will go away. So I don't think I ever really figured out how to deal with emotions properly. I was just like, okay, cool, I have this feeling. I'm just gonna ignore it until it goes away. So I don't think I really like I would say after I had my first big breakup, I think that's when my anxiety started like kicking in because I was like, oh, what's going on? I would like work a lot. I was like a workaholic. Like I was like not eating. Like I didn't know what was going on. And I didn't realize at the time that was anxiety until maybe my late 20s when I was like feeling kind of sick all the time, like dizzy, all this stuff. And I was like, why is this? Am I sick? Do I have something wrong with me? Why do I feel like I'm having a heart attack? Like I'm definitely healthy. Like what's going on? Until I realized it's anxiety, but I just didn't know how to deal with emotions. So it just kind of built up to the point of anxiety and like all these terrible feelings or and I didn't realize that anxiety could have actual physical like symptoms,
Mm.
right? Until I kind of read up on it about it, heard other people talking about it, and then I realized, oh, I'm not crazy. Like this is a thing, but it's just like the brushing it off thing is it only helps so much until it builds up to the point where it's actually like physically affecting you. You know what I mean? So it's just like so weird. You just have to kind of deal with your emotions. And it's weird because what kind of made me realize this was that movie Inside Out when they're like, "Oh, you have to deal with your emotions and whatever." And I was like, "Wait, why is it what they're saying in this kids movie like affecting me so hard? Why am I so emotional about this?" And it's like because that's what people do and that's what I do in most situations, right? So it's just like, you can't hold it back because it just gets worse.
And like to piggyback off of what you were saying, Coda Girl, those situations where, you repress so much of what you are going through mentally and it manifests itself physically. That's definitely been some things that I've had to work through for years. Growing up, now I'm more spiritual, and I know my connection with God, whoever they are, the higher power, whoever they mean to you. And, I'm very grateful for that. But for years, I was, just internalizing a lot of the hate and the negativity from the church. And there would be nights where, I'm going to bed just fine, I'm sleeping just fine. And the next thing I know, it's like 2 or 3 in the morning and I'm jolting awake. My heart is racing and I'm having like a panic attack, like a night terror, because, you know, I've been told all these years that, "Oh, you're going to hell, you're going to hell," and, like, I'm waking up in the middle of the night terrified of, like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on? What's happening?" And having to process that, it's just I don't think people really realize how deep-rooted that mental health is connected to your physical health. Not to only deal with the trauma of, our ancestors going through what they went through, but then also tagging in the intersectional part, whether you are queer and black and gay, or if you are black and trans, there's lots of different things that people don't really realize. And I think a lot of people really need to just educate themselves about it and help people work through it. And rather than telling people to, repress it, talk to them about it, or at least just lend an ear and just say, "Hey, what's going on?" I think that really could have helped me a lot growing up if I had that resource. And I think that having that more available to people who are, up in the up and coming generations, I love that for them. I'm really grateful for that.
I definitely think it's something that is generational and
Yeah.
carries even down to slavery because you didn't have time to cry. You didn't have time to grieve. You didn't have time to feel and express how you were feeling because you would be next. So you kind of just had to become numb or at least hold it in and do what you need to do day to day, get through what you need to go through. That still applies today. If I show that you're getting to me, if I show that this is bothering me, you will use that against me, whether you are black, whether you are not black, whether you're my boss, whether you are my teacher. It's like being afraid to show that emotional vulnerability keeps us from also processing those emotions as well, which leads to a lot of different disorders, which is a lot of different things happening and building up because we can't express ourselves. I know when I went to school, got my master's, like, oh, so you're gonna work with crazy people. And my initial my I clapped back real swift. So I was like, "Oh, you mean you?" And they were like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, like I work with everyone. So that's from the CEO to the lady on the street. Okay? Mental health is universal across everybody. So, and then they said, "Oh, well, you can help our family." Okay, pay up. Because that's also not free. You will not disrespect me in that way. It's all about setting boundaries and being clear about what you need in that moment. And like they said, I wish somebody would have just talked to me about it. I wish they would have too, but we were never built for that. We only had religion. We only had religion to turn to. We only had God to turn to. So that's why I was like, well, just pray about it. Just pray about it. And I hear that all the time in my therapy sessions. And I'm just like, went to Christian elementary school, Catholic high school. I get it. I get it up and down, around the corner. I totally get it. Like, oh, I prayed about it. Okay, but what did you do?
But what did you
And they
do?
go, I prayed about it. Okay, and then what did you do? Because I seem to recall in the Bible that, he told Noah, build the ark. I'm not going to give it to you.
Build bitch! Ah! You
He
better
said,
use the
build it.
book.
Build it 2 by 2. Build. Okay? So, yes, you
Didn't
can
they
pray
also
about it,
save?
but it's not just given to you.
Yeah, I love it because it's true. We
Yeah.
have to use the resources that are given to us. And some of that is our own intuition and our own reactions and our own ability to act on it. And one thing that I know for me, I struggled the most with was just terminology and just hearing people that I love say things that were really like hateful and hurtful. And even if they didn't mean it in a hateful, hurtful way, but like, like TJ, you use the term, oh, he's just a little sissy, or oh, he's a little sweet, or well, she crazy. Like all of those things are not good ways to speak about mental health. And unfortunately, I grew up hearing that. And, I would always, when I was younger, I knew it was wrong. And like there was like that impulse in me to be like, don't say that. Like, don't call him that. Like, he's expressing it. Like, I want to be like, he's expressing himself. But unfortunately, we internalize those things and they become trigger words for us. Right. And so when we hear, we think about our own mental health and maybe we are struggling, we start to point that word towards us and say, maybe I am crazy. And, crazy people didn't get love because my mama said, or my daddy said, like, and so that's the real, I think that's part of like the real journey is just like learning to use, people's preferred pronouns. We have to learn how to speak well, either towards ourselves when we look in the mirror or when we're just having a down moment or, we just need a little TLC and we have a little brain fart there, or towards other people who maybe we don't understand, but like, let's just not call them crazy. Let's just not call them, any other like seemingly not hurtful, but not helpful term.
Yeah. It just teaches us to be indirect. It just teaches us to talk around how we feel, how we engage with people. And it's just dismissive. It takes our inability to understand someone or something, and we try to just wrap it up into one word to make it easy on us. And that's not the move. So we are nearing the end. So before we jump into our fun, little cute, lively, lightened up wrap up, I do want to talk about a year in a pandemic. A lot more of us were working, existing, moving in the digital space, social media. What role do y'all think, not even necessarily just the conversation about mental health, but the conversation surrounding Blackness on, whether it's how Juneteenth is, love that it's a holiday. There's a whole lot more shit we've been asking for. And you just like there's a meme of just like all these different things that are tangibly beneficial to Black people and it's somebody stepping over all of them to land on make Juneteenth the national holiday. So so in the climate that we exist in, where there's people that are just overtly racist, or people that are subvertly racist. What role does social media and the internet play in your mental health?
I try to not do it first thing in the morning, because while the memes are funny, sometimes the clapbacks are funny. It's also you're inhaling and you're reading a lot of negative things first thing. Whether it's something our president did, our former president did, something that's happening in the world, mass shootings, all that you are inviting all of that into your spirit. So I think we have to be very careful whether you curate your social media, you block certain terms, or you keep certain news things from coming up on your feed, turn your notifications off, do what you have to do for yourself. I would say social media, I check it probably in the middle of my day when I've already started and before I end, and then I just briefly go through it. I try not to read all of it, take in all of it, because that's extremely mentally taxing, especially when it's not good news.
Yeah.
So I think balancing your time is definitely helpful, and it's helped me.
This definitely hits home for me because please respect my privacy at this time. Your boy be on, the Bird app quite a bit.
Drag us.
So
Drag us.
I what I like to do is there's definitely, like I mentioned before, I like to just pick and choose what I'm engaging with. There's moments where it's like, this is cute to do publicly on the timeline, and then other times, there'll be something that I'm like, okay, this is a group app moment, this is a group text, like, girl, did you see that? Like, this is a mess, and just have that um kind of boundary. But there's definitely moments, when like in my stream and my community knows I love a good read. I'm a read, and I get, lost in that sauce. Next thing you know, I'm about like 2 or 3 tweets in there. But it's, sometimes, it's a healthy balance. You gotta let them know that I'm not the one, the two, the three, or the four.
I need to
Yeah.
never look at whenever Twitch posts something about queer people, about women, or about Black people. I need to never look at the comments, because it is subspecies shit. Like, no, it is so pointless. No one wants to hear shit in those
Yeah.
comments.
I'm a big fan of just taking a break, like taking it out altogether. I'll do it for a week at a time, maybe a month at a time, and just, delete it off my phone and try to enjoy my life without having to take a picture of it. Like that's a big thing. You can do it for even just a day. In the heat of the pandemic, I definitely did that. Like there was one set day a week for like months where I was just like, I'm not hopping on social media at all today. And I would do some of our other healthy things like, go outside or play with my dog, like those sorts of things, just kind of to reset myself. So I still do that from time to time for sure.
I completely deleted Facebook for a bit because I think that's before I was on because I wasn't on Twitter a lot at the time. I was mostly on Facebook, and just like the weird stuff that would pop on Facebook and all the races popping up out of nowhere that I'd never known of. So I just removed it from my phone completely. I did bring it back, but I brought it back at the point when I realized like I was barely on Facebook anymore. So it's more of a family communication tool than it is me actually surfing through. Um, and then when I got more into Twitter during the George Floyd, um, tragedy, I had someone come to me and asked me to do a project with them surrounding police brutality. So we created like a website where we got a bunch of Twitter like videos and posted it on the website so people could search it through like state and everything and see what was going on. And that really affected me really hard because I was seeing some of the craziest stuff that I could never believe would happen. And it wasn't even just in the States, like the States was pretty bad, but it was even in like different countries and stuff. We had other countries coming to us asking us to do the same thing. And it was like, I had to step away from it because it was like crazy to me. So, as much as it's there and it's helpful, it was just like, I can't do that. So there's just like a lot of times where I'll also take a break. Like I don't go on. And if I do go on, it will be like at the end of my day and I'll just like turn it off. And it's just, you have to take a break. But I think that was probably the most effective thing, was seeing that police brutality stuff and being like, I can't believe there's people like this in the world, and I can't believe this is allowed. in the world. Like, why is this a thing? It's just like the truths that come out on social media too is just too much for anyone to handle.
To like tie into what you were saying, just during that time, there was so much going on on that app. And I don't mind having a teachable moment for people who I truly care about. But when it's like people who are obviously not there to learn or actually, gain knowledge, they're just there to antagonize and be the devil's advocate. Like, you know, I don't feature Phoenicia in my home. I don't do that for free. No, you need to pay me for that. I don't do that for free. That's something that Google can do for you for free.
Yeah.
For me to curate that, that's going to be a good $100. And also during this whole month, especially on Juneteenth, I'm charging 250 for each microaggression. Don't do it.
Mhm. The rates are increasing like gas. Let's go.
Okay.
I think during the pandemic, I really kind of was just like, what am I getting out of these social medias? And really just had that question of just like, do I really need this? Do I really want to be as perceived as I thought I wanted to before this all went down? And that really was like a moment for me where it's just like I took a really big step back from Instagram. One, because it was like, y'all don't need to see me in my sweats every damn day. Because that's what it looks like right now. But two, I just was just like, I want to be laughing. I want to be laughing. I want joy. So right now I'm gonna focus on those apps that are gonna give that for me. And I'm really working on if it feels like a battle or a chore, I'm not here for it right now. I got way too much shit to do in my day to day that is both of those things. I'm not gonna intentionally come onto this Bird app or Instagram to do the same thing.
So, I love those. Yeah, I mean, like there's just there's so much information to take in, and there's so much, I think, especially as creators, as content creators, as even, whether or not we see ourselves as such, but community leaders and builders, like I feel like there's a lot of pressure to have something to say, to participate, to know, and to be aware. But I want to encourage everyone to just be intentional about what you do, and I think that what I'm hearing a lot of is just being deliberate about the things you engage with, be deliberate about the people that you engage with, and because there will be no shortage of bullshit to ingest at all times of the day at this point. With the way this news cycle is set up, I don't think so. But to round things out, let's all talk about something that brings us joy. Speaking of what Hoochie Papa was talking about, what are some things that bring us joy? Just and things that are not rooted in a relationship or another person, things that are solely, we're talking about going out and doing for ourselves. What are some things that you can do for yourself or experience for yourself that brings you joy?
For me, it's the joy of playing a video game where you see some accurate representation of that black hair. It's not just the one afro, it's actually got you giving twist outs, it's giving flat top, it's giving, goddess braids. Like
What's
when
the
I see that,
game?
I'm just like just bathing in the melanin. Just love it. And I love
Yeah.
to see it.
What's the game? Where do we see this?
So there were quite a few recently. So one of the things that I went back to play was Monster Hunter World, and I guess they added the DLC since the last time that
Oh.
I played. And so, I had the Eurocentric hairstyle on my character because, they had that one afro at the time, and the next thing I knew, I was like, oh, there's twists. Like, oh, there's multiple lengths of
Oh.
Afrocentric hair. I'm like, okay, and we love to see that. And even Baldur's Gate 3, it was like giving me dreads, it was giving me some locks, and I was like, I'm living for this.
Let's do it. Hell
Um,
yeah.
and we all saw that whole thing with The Sims where, they had to get together with
Oh,
a curly hair moment. Because they were comparing things to cauliflower originally, and we just, we're above that. We're getting there. It's
yeah.
progress.
Cauliflowers for pizza now. Okay, that's it.
Period.
What else? What
I
else
would
brings us joy?
I would say teaching my clients how to set boundaries, teaching my friends how to set boundaries. Um how I'm talking right now is how I talk to them. So it's very much like here's the situation or whatever. Okay, so what'd you do about it? Like, oh, okay, well, X, Y, and Z. Okay. So how does that help you? Like, so it just
Mm.
kind of teaching that luxury that I've learned to other people to help them set boundaries, whether it's to family members and their professional lives and all of that. I think that gives me personal joy, especially as a Black woman and it's other Black people doing it. Makes me feel good.
I need a session with Lainey.
I got you.
I'd say honestly, people watching has been bringing me joy recently. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, I forgot all y'all were out here, and y'all
Oh
are
my
kind of different
God.
from each other, and really just like watching everybody. There have been so many times where after work, I will just plant myself in a park and just the entertainment as it walks by, especially the children too. Just like watching them have so much joy for the smallest
Oh
things, or like
my gosh.
watching a child discover the simplest task or idea and just be so taken aback by it. That fills me up with joy because it helps me remind myself like everything that is around me right now, everything that we are doing is truly amazing, and I should be
Mhm.
blessed and happy for it. And it kind of humbles me and grounds me.
We have the same capacity for that same kind of joy that these little nuggets have.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. We should have never lost it. That's the point. And I think for me, I mean, I love my home. I love like a beautiful home, and similar to Lainey, like I'm in a place now where I'm helping other people figure out what that means in their home, and helping them design a life that like gives them peace and joy and puppy snuggles and good food and like all of those things. So it just like brings me joy. And of course, the best video that I think any Black person can watch. It's on forget one of them. I think it was on Instagram. I was going around called Black People Laughing. If you just search that hashtag, look, you can't even hear us, and we're all laughing, and and like you feel that laughter because it comes from our soul, and no matter what kind of day I'm having, even if I've seen the video like 100 times, I just start giggling, and it is pure joy. And so, hands down, watch it.
I'm lit
It's
just
just
thinking about
reading
that
the word
video.
wheeze and just all you
Oh
gotta
my
do is
god,
Or
the
or
read
best
it
or
and
one
reading
was
that's it.
laughing on
SK.
the read too, which was so funny. And so it's just these two queens and they're dying, like dying, crying, like laughing without sound. Like it's the best feeling
I
just to
love
even think
that.
about our joy and how deep it goes, because our pain goes very deep, but our joy also goes even deeper. So that is just the
I
best
love that.
medicine.
How deep is your joy? And anytime it makes me think. Anytime I see the letters S, the SK, this that
Oh,
I
that's
just
my
seeing that
favorite.
written, that takes me down just looking at it. Like
Me too.
It's just the mashing of the keyboard. You hear it. Like it don't even
I
need to be
literally hear
any
it.
letters that even correspond to what it sounds like. All you do is you hear the noise.
Black culture permeates all surfaces, all things, all
Exactly.
devices. It's wild.
If
Chanel.
only I got the credit.
Yes.
Chanel. I didn't forget about you.
For me, I think since I started streaming, um, a lot of the people that I get in my chat lately are like women of color who are like devs and stuff, or women like women POCs who are devs, and they come to me. They're like, "Oh, it's so nice to see like, you know, a woman dev like you," and they ask me questions, and they want to just chat about like what I do, how I got where I am. And even people like not even streaming, but people like professionally on LinkedIn will message me and be like, I love like your story, like how you became a dev and all that stuff. Like I just want to chat with you. And that always makes me happy because it's like I'm glad I'm that person's representation because I didn't really have that. So I'm glad I can be there for that person. So I don't mind having like I'll like stop my stream and be like, let's chat. Like I'll just stop what I'm
Yeah.
doing and like, let's chat about it. Like what do you want to do? Like what do you need from me? Like let's chat about it. So that's my favorite thing going on right now.
My God, everything y'all have said have brought me so much joy. You can see me just falling out of my seat the whole time. But I will say something that does bring me a lot of internal joy, and it's not really necessarily something that I can just do on a whim, but seeing myself like just being able to see myself intentionally bring myself out of a low. I'm just like, I feel like I just fucking got play of the game and some shit. I'm like, you can't tell me nothing, bitch. I just figured this. I just coded this shit. This is the most challenging puzzle I've ever tried to play in my entire life. So just feeling those things sort of like unlock over time. And I'm starting to try and drag myself less for relearning lessons over and over again because it's a human thing. But I just want to just thank you all so much. We're going to do a quick final word and where everybody can find you. So let's do that. And I'm just going to continue to gush and be gay while this happens. So who wants to kick us off?
Start. You can find me on Instagram at Hoochie Papa, spelled just like this, and on Twitter at Hoochie Papa 69.
69. I love you. Yes. Go follow Hoochie Papa. Come on. I need this hat still.
And then
Okay.
I'm also, you can find me on Instagram. I'm Nick Nik dot my last name Lockhart, Lockhart. It's kind of like it sounds. But yeah, thanks for having me here today, guys. This is amazing. Oh, and if anybody needs any like additional resources around like where you can find mental health support, definitely feel free to contact me. I have a lot of free resources that really are just here to support specifically like Blacks, people of color. If you don't identify as that or as LGBTQI, like contact me anyways. I can find you a resource and we'll get you some of the help you need. Definitely, you know, you're worthy of love and you deserve to be healthy and healed.
I am Lainey Love on all socials. I'm fortunate enough to have all those match. So Lainey Love with 3 E's. And you know, if you feel like you need mental health therapy and all that, please, please, please. It's never too late to get into it. It's never too late to process those things. You will be validated. You will be heard over my dead body. Point blank, period. And if you find out there's a therapist that ain't doing what they're supposed to do, let me know so we can report them and get them off the board. Thank you so much.
Really quick, I think Lainey and Nicole, it is truly such a blessing to have some straight up mental health professionals here with everything y'all have said has been. So like, where's the point? Because y'all are on it because just it's phenomenal. I love. Thank you for being here. And let's continue. We got 2 more friends.
I'll go. Yeah, thanks. So I'm Coder Girl Chen on all socials, so Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. Yeah, you can hit me up on that. You can pop in the stream and we can talk about mental health anytime you want. We can talk about whatever you want. If you don't want to talk about it and just chill, you can also do that. Lurking is also fine if you're having a bad day. So, no, come hang out.
You can find me as TJ the Xdroid. Don't forget the X on all social media. Like I tell my community, I'm the most active on the Bird app and now on TikTok. So I try to put some, comedic content on there, make you laugh. And even during the stream, we just like to have funny moments, like when some of my straight ally friends learned where right in front of my salad came from. So
If we're talking about cinema, let's do this. I love, and I have been your moderator. I go by honestly too many goddamn names. All the socials are 6CBB. The 6 stands for Rudy Six, the musician. The BB stands for I'm a Betty Black, the drag bitch. That's me. I stream on Twitch. I'm playing my first Zelda game, Breath of the Wild, right now. We always talk mental health. We always talk whatever's clever. You know, it's chaotic. It's fabulous. It's a good time. And I'm thoroughly so pleased to have been able to do something like this, to be able to share this digital stage and this space with y'all. I want to echo what all these fabulous panelists have said. It is never too late. Advocate for yourself, utilize that clear communication, be intentional about what you ingest mentally, what you eat, all the things. We get this one body and we gotta do what we can, and this one brain, and we gotta do what we can to see this thing through. So we want to see the best for all of you. Take care of that headspace, and we'll see you soon. Keep enjoying Juneteenth and pay up for Black people. Command reparation.
Happy Juneteenth, everyone.
Happy Juneteenth.
Bye.
They can't hear us, right?
I need you to say it to me once to make it real. Say it with your fingertips to make me feel you. I get lost in colors, sometimes I think I'm teal. Would you say it to me 6 times here in the bottom of your tower, just trying to get a little glimpse of your power. Feel like I've been here for hours, and I wanna see the light at the end of your tunnel. Wanna let all of that glory funnel. Let a wall show me, get a cascade and cover everything. Cause I just got back from by the